Hi guys, welcome back. So let's have a look at England versus France at the weekend. Now it's actually a little bit of an odd game. England and France have both qualified, so the pressure's off. England go in as pretty big favourites, I think. France only squeaked past Tonga 23-21. France are a side capable of excellence, but also switching off concentration as well. And I actually think both sides will approach this in quite a similar way. They know they're both through, and I think they're both happy with where they're at. I mean, France will obviously try and win, England will try and win, but France, I think, are quite happy playing Wales. And France are really aiming for 2023 when the World Cup is in France. That's what they've come out and said. So, you know, it's a bit of an interesting game. The emotional intensity might not be quite as high, so they'll be focusing on their processes and all that sort of thing, which I think is not a bad thing actually. England, one of England's problems, we'd seen on this channel was they might have to play 5 really intense emotional games in a row. Argentina wasn't that. This one might not be that either, and then it will just be down to 3. So I think actually both sides will send out a mixed squad. I think England will rest quite a lot of key players, or I hope they do. They might not, but I hope they do. So my selections will reflect that. Now England, I think, will prefer to play Australia. Certainly I would. Playing Wales is it's really tough. They know each other so well, and I think Wales raise their game even more when they play England, and that's possibly one of the main reasons I wouldn't want to play them. Australia's going to be very tough. If they can control them though, I think England will feel they've got a good game plan to beat them. It depends how good Australia are, how good their attack is, and if they switch off at all. But anyway, I think that's how it goes. The other problem is though, if you play Australia, it puts you in the side of the draw as New Zealand may well be. But hey, they've still got to get through a quarter-final first. Sometimes people say you've got to beat the best if you want to win it. That's not strictly true. If they stay away from New Zealand for as long as possible, they may get knocked out, or they might just meet them in the final. So that's not quite true. But anyway, England will be going out with a mixed squad, I believe, and there's not a lot of performance difference between these England squad players actually, so I think that's an advantage. Billy Vunipola, in a boot, not looking great with his ankle, so I'm pretty sure he won't play anyway. I don't know how serious that is, so we'll see if it's just out for a game or maybe more, we shall see. But I think there's plenty of back row cover. So let's get into this team and why I think they're being selected for me. So, number 1, I'd start Mako Vunipola. He looked good in the end of the last game. It's the perfect game for him to start where nothing is really on the line, and to get his fitness back and get his feel into this World Cup. So I think that's perfect for him. 100% start Vunipola. Marla's been playing great. Genji's been playing well, but I think let's get Vunipola out there. Especially if Billy proved to be out for a few games, bringing in the ball carrying of Mako Vunipola will help to compensate for that. So I think that's an important point as well. Luke Cowan-Dickie I'd start at 2. He's been going very well, but he is still inexperienced internationally, so getting more and more experience. So this is a perfect opportunity. And rotate Sinclair out, start Cole, just keep those guys rotating, keeping them fresh. In the second row, I think you start your Launchbury and Laws combination. Launchbury needs to play. Laws has been playing well, so rest Itoje and Cruz from the starting lineup. I think that's absolutely fine, and it's a very good pairing anyway. Now, back row. I want to see Wilson play 8, okay? I know Curry's filled in at 8, but I don't want to start Curry. I think he's the starting back row, one of the first names in that back row. So I wouldn't start him. I'd have Ludlam at 6, who's been playing great, and he's a serious contender for the big match day 23. If he puts in another big performance, Underhill's been tackling like a champion, as he normally does. So I'm fine with that. At 9, I'd rotate out and get Hines a game start, but probably give Youngs plenty of time as well. Both, Hines is in good form, and Ben Youngs is looking for that good form, which he started on against Argentina. Now at 10, I'm not sure here. Ford's been the form 10, but I think Farrell could do with some game time to get him back into the groove. Let him play some 10 rather than 12. Plus he's the captain. So I think I'll start Farrell actually over Ford for those reasons. In the centres, Francis has been playing pretty well actually. He's a solid centre. Let's give some of the other guys a rest, especially Tuolangi. So let's start Francis at 12. Now Jonathan Joseph deserves to start on form, but Slade needs the game time more. So let's give Slade some full game time and see if he's really in the zone or not, and then you can make an informed decision between him and Joseph or whatever combination of centres they're going for. On the wings, Thokanasiga needs to start, he's fit and raring to go, and Noel, perfect game for him to start. He obviously came back with a bang against Argentina. Can he continue that way against France? And at 15, Daly's played really well last game. He's played a lot of rugby, so let's rotate him out. Give Watson a whirl at 15. If he's the backup, he needs as much game time there as possible anyway. And on the bench, we've got the impact of Genge. Singleton needs to get another game. Sinclair's obviously has to be there as the tight head cover. Cruz on the bench, completely resting Atoje. Curry has to cover the back row if Billy's out. Youngs and Ford have to be on the bench for 9 and 10. And then Jonathan Joseph deserves to get on with his form. And that means you save Marler, George, Atoje, Billy, Vunipola in the forwards completely. They'll be fresh for that quarter-final. That could be very important. And then some big backs as well, Tuolangi, May and Daly. So they're completely fresh as well. Oh, and also, can you help me clear up one thing? I know Tuolangi is not spelt with an N, but do you pronounce it? I'm pretty sure I heard that you do pronounce it with an N even though there's no N in it. But if you really know if that's true or not, let me know, because I want to get it right and I'm not sure I've heard it both ways. Anyway, there we go. So I think that's a good enough team to beat France. If they don't beat them, it's not the end of the world. It's not great. But I think that's the way to go, and it really takes the pressure off England being able to rotate like that on a match that isn't actually as crucial as it could have been. One more interesting thing is the typhoon seems to have turned and it's heading towards England's game instead. And if it's called off with a 0-0 draw, that's fine as well. They both rest, they get 2 points, nothing really changes, so that's fine. But I think they're going to move the game if that does happen. So anyway, that's my team. Tell me what you think, and until next time, I'll see you then.